Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Turnpike Sports Book Report, where we go through the national and state reports. Boy, do we got a lot of those, especially with the Super Bowl numbers.
Yeah, Super Bowl numbers were great.
The what's the phrase everyone uses? The Super Bowl effect was in full force for the states.
Yes.
We've got some legislative updates. We've got deal making to be talking about. We've also got launches around the country to talk about as well, and also internationally as well. So first, I want to start off with the American Gaming Association. They did their, I guess you can call a State of the State address recently. They had their year-end result release for the gaming industry. Yeah. According to the American Gaming Association, legal U.S. sports betting generated $57.22 billion in handle in 2021 and $4.29 billion in revenue. That's a 165% increase for the handle and 177% increase for revenue over 2020. Now, 2020 was pandemic time.
Yeah.
So that kind of stands to reason, but it's still an astounding number. Let's see. Regulated sports betting is now across 30 states and D.C., generated $4.29 billion in 2021 revenue. That's I had to repeat that number because it's just really kind of an astounding number. Online casino gaming across 6 states generated $3.7 billion in revenue.
Wow.
Can you imagine if online gaming, online casinos were in the same amount of states as sports betting?
Oh, no, it'd be incredible. It'd be absolutely incredible.
Online casino gaming almost matched the revenue for online sports betting. And there's only 6 states reporting.
So, I mean, online casinos aren't in as many states as sportsbooks.
You got 30 versus, well, actually 31 if you want, 32 if you count Puerto Rico now.
Yeah.
Because Puerto Rico just launched
30
too.
states, 2 territories.
30 states, 2 territories, versus 6 states with online casinos. Again, I don't know why states are against these online casinos. I kind of understand it because it's one of those, they don't want to, their constituencies for the senators and houses and all that stuff. But, it's like Massachusetts. They don't want to do sports betting for some reason. I've never understood that. But they don't even want to do online gaming either.
Yeah. No, it's weird up there.
According to GeoComply for the Super Bowl now. According to GeoComply, GeoComply reported from Saturday up until halftime at the Super Bowl, there were over 68.2 million geolocation transactions, more than twice the amount seen over the same period in 2021 for the Super Bowl.
And that's just starting Saturday before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, people were betting weeks before that.
Well, again, the number is sort of misleading because we have more states now.
Sure.
And it's not twice the number of states either. I think there was 20 for last year's Super Bowl.
I don't know.
And now we only have 30. I mean, we have 9 more states, but twice as much betting. I'm assuming New York had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I would.
New York and Arizona, those 2 states probably had a lot.
Like
to
I
do
said,
with
New York's
everything.
numbers are just astounding. I mean, they throw the equation. It's just what they do to the numbers of the overall sports betting market in this country are just incredible because of New York.
Well, speaking of New York, GeoComply released New York's numbers.
Okay.
For the first 30 days of sports betting transactions.
So it started on January 8th, right?
Right. It's not a full month.
Not a full month, okay.
There were 1.7 million unique online sports betting player accounts set up in New York in the state's first 30 days.
So they're unique.
That's not a lot of number. I thought it'd be a lot
New
more.
York, yeah.
1.76 million unique online sports betting accounts. That's 12.6% of the state's age 21 and up population. I thought that number would be a lot bigger.
Well, look, a lot of people, especially like in the New York City area, not a lot of people who actually bet in New York actually live in New York. A lot live in Connecticut and New Jersey, so that might make the numbers a little weirder.
I guess so. But here's a weird number. Approximately 5.6 million unique accounts accessed legal online sports books over Super Bowl weekend. That seems like a small number to me.
Well,
they said, according to GeoComply, it was a 95% increase from last year.
That's pretty good.
That's a great number, but still, it still seems kind of small considering, what is it? 144 million Americans have access to legal sports betting of some way, shape, or form.
Well, like I said, it's a very interesting area, a very unique area. There's most people who work in the New York City area, which is the bulk of the numbers coming out. I mean, certainly upstate New York people were registering, but the bulk of the people were in the New York metropolitan area. It's a lot of, like you said, people work in New York. They live in Connecticut and New Jersey, and you know what? Some people still like the promos in New Jersey, and some people still like the promos in Connecticut, so maybe they didn't do anything in New York. So
I don't know.
But the numbers are still incredible for New York.
I'm still impressed with the New York promos that they're doing, especially with that 51% tax rate. I know everyone's hitting everybody over the head with that 51%. It doesn't seem to be slowing down New York because of the sheer volume of people in that state, but
sure.
I was actually really impressed with how the sportsbooks were doing the promos for the Super Bowl. And I've been noticing that some of these sportsbooks had early leads and they're down now. I saw one stat, Caesars in New York is outperforming Caesars Lifetime in other states.
Sure. Well, look, I mean, for someone who sees the media coming out of New York, because I live in New Jersey, I mean, Caesars is everywhere. They're on billboards, they're on buses, they're on TV every hour, they're on the radio every hour. The Caesars is just promoting itself like you wouldn't believe in this area. So, yeah, I would understand that's why Caesars has been so great and has been one of the highest handle books in this region.
Well, do you want to go through some of these numbers for the Super Bowl itself?
Sure.
New Jersey
All
reported a $143.7 million Super Bowl handle.
Okay.
Compared to $117.4 million the year before. That's a 22% increase. The win was $7.8 million compared to $11.3 million in last year's Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
So revenue went down, handle went up.
Well, a lot
smarter bettors?
Smarter bettors in New Jersey.
Well, is it a matter of less parlays?
No,
because you can't parlay props.
I know, but people people love those same game parlays. So and they're being promoted everywhere in the state. So I don't know if people are betting less parlays, but I just think they're. Let me tell you something. I think there's so much information about the sports now. There are so many betting shows and so many betting podcasts and betting radio shows here. I mean, everyone knows every stat of every player now if you wanted to. So, when we say smarter bettors, probably we're meaning more informed bettors because they're getting all the stats, Even when we were doing picks, we were we knew against the spread what was the record against the spread and what was everyone doing and the different scores from past games. So it's information is at your fingertips now. So it's helping bettors a lot.
Well, I just think maybe it was a lot of the prop bets because as soon as somebody figures out a way to allow parlay betting for prop bets, you may see a whole different animal here. Because I couldn't parlay prop bets in any of the sports books.
No,
they were all counted as single bets.
Sure. But they had special things. They had the special bets. Someone getting an MVP and you'd win, and how many points so and so would get, or how many yards so and so would get. There was some special special offers in certain sports books that you can look for.
Speaking of special offers and places, Nevada Sportsbook reported an all-time high of $179.8 million handle on this year's Super Bowl, and a revenue of $15.4 million and a hold of 8.6%.
Wow.
That was not their best Super Bowl in terms of revenue, though.
But in terms of handle,
it was. The best revenue Super Bowl was the Eagles-Patriots game.
Really? Okay.
$19.7 million in revenue and a 16% win handle. Win rate.
That was interesting because that was before everyone else allowed sports betting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before PASPA was wiped away.
Well, that was when Donovan McNabb threw up in the huddle and they lost the game at the end.
One.
The Patriots Eagles.
Yeah, well, I thought you meant the one a couple years ago.
Super Bowl 48.
Okay. All right, yeah, I thought the one we watched in Atlantic City.
Not that one. Not the
Philly special one?
No, it was not the rematch.
That was way before sports betting was allowed.
Yes. Oregon Lottery reported over 250,000 bets on the Super Bowl versus 150,000 last year. That's an increase of 66%. Mm-hmm. By the way, Oregon Lottery had an interesting month because halfway through the month, they switched from Intralot to DraftKings.
Okay.
And DraftKings saw a rise in betting when they took over.
Oh, okay.
Kind of an interesting little side note there. Illinois Gaming Board reported $60.5 million in Super Bowl handle and $9.5 million in adjusted gross revenue. The New Hampshire Lottery, $7.7 million handle for the Super Bowl, down 12.5% year over year.
No Tom Brady.
I
guess when you're in New England, you're a sportsbook in New England, you have to hope for Tom Brady to be there. And I think they're out of luck now with his retirement, with his supposed retirement.
Yeah, I don't think he's filed his papers yet.
Who knows?
I mean, a lot of people are saying he may come back. There may be a spot in San Francisco for him because they're talking about getting rid of Jimmy G.
And Jimmy G may Jimmy
G can't get away from Brady.
Yeah, trade him to Tampa Bay.
Why don't is Jimmy G trading or is he released? Because I don't think his contract's up.
They have to determine that. So,
28% of the bettors in New Hampshire had Massachusetts addresses.
Well, yeah.
Everyone's coming from Massachusetts. I mean, you're missing out on the boat here. That Commonwealth up there.
I mean, and look, I'm sure in New York and Connecticut, there's a ton of people from Massachusetts going down there to.
I'm actually curious to see exactly where Massachusetts people are going. Are they going to Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York,
That's true, Rhode
New
Island?
Hampshire?
Well, I guess it depends on where you live. I mean, Massachusetts is a very long state. So if you're out in western Massachusetts, just go over the border either to Connecticut or to New York. I mean, if you're northern Massachusetts, you go up to New Hampshire. If you're down near Rhode Island,
if you're southern Massachusetts, you go to Rhode Island or Connecticut too.
Yeah.
I know the Tiverton Casino, which is right over the border from Massachusetts, does not have a sports book.
Yeah.
Does not have a sports book, but they do have online sports betting in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. You just go to, just cross the border.
Go to a rest stop.
Yeah, you go to a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts and stuff like that, and place your bets mobily and go back home.
Mississippi reported $6.4 million in handle for the Super Bowl. Montana reported $700,000 for the Super Bowl. That's up 41% from last year's Super Bowl in Montana.
Okay. As long as it's going up.
Yep. Going on to some of the state records now. You know, that was the majority of the Super Bowl reports.
State records for what?
Everything.
Okay.
This is not Super Bowl anymore. We're moving off the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. All right.
New Jersey set an all-time state monthly handle record for $1.348 billion.
Okay.
And also a mobile handle record with $1.209 billion.
Which kind of good news for New Jersey that New York may not affect them as much as they thought it could be, because I think a lot of reports before New York started mobile sports betting that like 20% of the handle for New Jersey was from New York commuters coming into New Jersey to bet. But, it may be it's a good sign that New Jersey has broken a state handle record.
And it increased.
Yeah.
Compared to New York, here's New York's number for their first month. It's from January 8th through February 6th. $1.98 billion.
Yeah, that's just incredible.
But New Jersey is technically right there if you think about it. I mean, for what that state is, I mean, $2 billion versus $1.4 billion. If you want to look at that, $1.3.5 billion.
I guess the point is New Jersey isn't getting crushed because New York started.
I don't think New Jersey will get crushed.
Well, there's a lot of fear about that. They were like, how much will the mobile sports betting community in New York, affect New Jersey's handle, because now they don't have to travel into New Jersey to place a bet. But it looks okay for New Jersey now. That's good news for New Jersey.
I will go out on a limb here and say this: for March Madness, you're going to see a lot of New York bettors crossing over into Jersey to place bets on the New York college teams. Because you can't bet on college teams in New York.
Well, you also can't bet on college teams in New Jersey.
But if you're going to New Jersey to bet on the New York college teams, you're going to see a hell of a lot more people going that way than the other way.
Yeah, but, if you're in New Jersey and want to bet on Rutgers, who's been on a tear lately.
Well, you can also go to Pennsylvania.
You can go to Pennsylvania, or you can just drive over to the border and open up an account in New York.
Or if you're in South Jersey, go down to Delaware, go down to Maryland.
Sure.
I mean, New York is not the only destination for New Jersey bettors.
But
New York bettors.
The biggest population in New Jersey is North Jersey, and New York is right there. It's right over the river. So you might as well, if you're in New Jersey and you think you want to bet on New Jersey colleges for March Madness, either you have Pennsylvania or you have New York to travel to.
Here's a weird stat, and this is, I want to thank Chris Altruda for this over at US Bets.
Okay.
New Jersey has accounted for 23.9% of the national post-PASPA handle since state-by-state wagering began in June 2018.
Wow.
That's an incredible
big
number.
Chunk.
And also, New York and New Jersey combined for over 60% of January's national handle.
Wow.
And that still is yet to be determined. That may fluctuate a little bit more.
Some good numbers from Chris.
Yeah, no, he's excellent at the stat keeping. New Jersey became the second state to surpass $200 million in all-time sports wagering tax revenue. That's taxes, not operator revenue. The state has made $200 million in terms of taxes from the launch of sports betting in New Jersey. Pennsylvania was the first one to cross that plateau, that barrier, whatever you want to call it. New York, state of Oregon, new monthly record in January with $42.899 million. As a matter of fact, I looked at the breakdown of this. The Oregon Lottery pre- and post-DraftKings taking over. Pre-DraftKings, it was around $20 million in handle. After DraftKings took over partway through the month, $22 million for DraftKings.
I wonder if promos or bonuses and things like that, specials for customers, had something to do with that.
I'm curious to see what table tennis did. I haven't dug through the report yet. Well, that's one of the two states.
Yeah, that and Colorado. Yeah, the Oregon and Colorado with table tennis.
As soon as I find that out, it's going to be on a future book report. So,
sure.
Going over to Iowa. Iowa reported state records for total handle of $303 million and online handle of $275 million. So they're about 85% still with their online versus retail kind of breakdown for total handle. Tennessee, state record for monthly handle, $386 million. This is all got to be Super Bowl betting that affects all this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming February's are going to be inflated because of March Madness, too.
Well, maybe. Who knows?
Michigan reported state record handle of $532.7 million. State record $496.8 million online handle. The record total handle is the fifth consecutive month of record handles for the state.
Wow.
So records all around, and there's still more states coming down the road that are going to be introducing some of their numbers, and I'm sure because of where we are in the sports calendar, you're going to see some new records being set. I'm dying to see what Arizona comes up with for January.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's see. A couple launches to hit. Desert Diamond Casinos over in Arizona, speaking of Arizona, announced the launch of its mobile sports wagering app, which became available for download just in time for the Super Bowl.
Great.
That was their goal for it, and they got it. Fubo Sportsbook received approval to operate in Tennessee. That marks 10 online sportsbooks for Tennessee and the third state for Fubo. Fubo's live in Arizona and Iowa as well as now Tennessee. The PGA Tour launched their new free-to-play game. They've been talking about this for a while now.
Yeah,
it's been 6-7 months now. Their partner is PointsBet, but for the free-to-play game, it was PointsBet, PGA, and this company that I'm seeing a lot of, and they are becoming one of the leaders in free-to-play games, Low Six.
Okay.
This was launched just in time for the Genesis Invitational, which happened last week.
I'm assuming you just go to PGA Tour's website and just
there's links everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. This is going to be a weekly game for every single event that's going on with the PGA Tour. There's going to be prizes up to $5,000 awarded to the players. We got some legislation to hit. Well, actually, you know what? I want to hit this first.
Okay.
NFL season is over. In another month or so, we're going to have the USFL season beginning.
Okay, yeah. I have to dust off my old Jersey Generals sweatshirts.
Well, Jersey Generals are the opening game.
Oh, okay, good.
Jersey Generals, Birmingham Stallions.
And
two of the originals.
I'm certainly assuming that you can bet on these games.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. The approvals haven't been given yet.
This is actually the first step. Sport Radar did a data deal with the USFL.
Good.
Once this deal is finally in place, they're going to be doing the integrity monitoring, the data distribution. The league has to go to the gaming divisions in the individual states to get approval for allowing people to bet on them.
So when does all this start? This starts in March?
April. Okay.
April
4th, I believe.
Okay, so they got
some time.
About a month and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they are going to be trying to get betting launched before the league, at least get it on the approved events for sports betting lists in the different states for the opening game at least. One other note about the USFL, and we talked about the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment, the Hall of Fame Village, the Hall of Fame, whatever you want to call it, the Hall of Fame Village, in Exit 3 of Turnpike Sports. The Hall of Fame will be hosting some of the playoffs and championship game.
Great
for the USFL.
Good.
So that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see how well the league does. U.S. Integrity announced a partnership with Angel of the Winds Casino Resort, which is over in Washington. Betway announced a deal naming the company exclusive partner of the Stock Car Pro Series Brazil. It's their first motorsports sponsorship.
Okay.
DraftKings did a partnership deal with Norwich City, which is an English Premier Soccer club. They're the official daily fantasy sports partner of that club. DraftKings also announced the hiring of two new personnel, Stacey McCullum and Todd DeBester. McCullum is formerly of ESPN, was hired to be DraftKings head of programming. That's an interesting title for DraftKings.
Yeah.
And DeBester is coming from Disney and Universal. He's not a sports betting background person. Kind of an interesting note for New Jersey in terms of legislation, and I guess it's legislation, but zoning approval, I guess that's what you can call it.
Sure.
The New Jersey Casino Reinvestment Development Authority approved the request by Continent 8, which is an infrastructure company for sports betting and online gaming, to build a 5,300 square foot modular addition to the Atlantic City Convention Center.
Okay.
Now it's not going to be in the convention center. It's going to be outside, attached to the convention center. So that's kind of it. Well, one note, this is going to be interesting. We talked about Massachusetts. We kind of dumped on them for not having sports betting.
Okay.
Maine. The Bangor Daily News acquired a bill proposal from the governor's desk, which is proposing to give just the Native American tribes the ability to do mobile sports betting in the state.
Interesting. Okay.
So they're not going to the private companies. They're going to the Native American tribes to see exactly.
Well, it might be an easier route for sports betting.
I don't know. They've had
a different set of laws.
It's the first time the governor has done something, because the governor is the one that's been vetoing everything. Mm-hmm. Now the governor has a bill proposal which is focused on mobile sports betting. South Carolina has a bill that would legalize sports betting, horse racing, card and dice games, and electronic gaming devices for bill expansion. And the bill requires revenue to go to highway, road, and bridge maintenance. And our friends over at SBC, Sports Betting Community, announced that the organization has joined the Ukrainian Gambling Council.
Okay.
Representing betting and gaming industry in the Ukraine. I just wanted to give them a little shout out there.
Okay, absolutely.
That's it for this week's Turnpike Sports Book Report. Keep those press releases coming in. Info at turnpikesportsradio.com. And we'll continue to report on as much as possible. If you're following on TV, the news ticker has a whole bunch of other different stories that we didn't have a chance to cover on air, as well as the print version will be up on the blog, turnpikesportsradio.com. Click on the blog button, and you'll have the print version right in front of you there.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.